before we started the show too. You're not having a good time. If you're not having a good time, you're wasting your time. You say that every night.
Relationships and situationships and all things. Thank you so much.
They've gone up to, do some nice things, I will say. Yeah. It's been a minute and I'm still grinding.
And you still grinding. Yeah. So with you being, and once again, now we're live on Facebook so everyone can actually see Mr. Carlton Harp the Fourth. Welcome to the visual land of what we're doing in this interview. So for those that are now watching us, me and Carlton was actually talking about his time in his profession within being an entrepreneur. And he was just kind of saying, at 15 plus years. So if you're listening on the radio, that's a lot of time. You can't cut it. You can't really look at that because, 15 years in the game, this was really before social media became a really big deal.
It was. I mean, when I first started out, it was like MySpace and Photoshop. I said Photoshop. And Facebook, that was it.
Yeah.
And Facebook was started when I was in college. When I was almost about to graduate. And,
okay.
Yeah, I remember. I never thought of it being a visual avenue to promote your work or this and that. But I will say it did help to get your name out there, network and stuff at the beginning, because there was nobody really. It's just. Now everybody's kind of caught up to the curve, but when I first started out, me being a visual person that did graduate from, I guess, a visual college, university, it was, I already had that expertise there, so a lot of my stuff was looking a certain way because I had training in it, but a lot of the youngsters, a lot of the people have caught up, and some of the things I see nowadays, I'm like, man, that's amazing what the people are creating today and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it was from the beginning to now, I would say you change and you evolve. And then you switch certain things that you like to shoot, stuff like that. Like when I first started out, I wanted to shoot fashion, this and that, but that changed because there wasn't any money in the fashion.
Okay.
It was nice, but I guess if you want to shoot fashion and go and shoot Instagram models, they pay, but to me that gets redundant after a while. It gets to be the same thing over and over again, so. I kind of like a challenge.
Okay. So 15 years, like I said, we want to continue to stick on 15 years of time, man, of experience, and now we're getting the wisdom from you. And like I said, I appreciate you being here. And once again, for those that see this young man on the screen, 15 years in the game as a photographer. But it's not just photography that he does. the beauty of what he does is Carlton for Envisions. So how did you come up with the name Carlton the Fourth Envisions?
It started out evolution of everything.
Okay.
Most people knew me as Carlton for Designs at first, and then I kind of didn't like that name, so then the logo came actually pretty early. So that logo has been the same. Envisions came because of my need for, I guess you want to say is, I was listening to some podcasts, and there was this one photographer. He was an older white guy, and he basically took his LLC or whatever and he created companies off of it. So I never wanted to be strapped down as the wedding photographer. I never wanted to be strapped down as the fashion photographer or just, certain genres. So my thing was, hey, get an LLC, make it, because I do graphic arts as well. That's what I do on my 9 to 5. So
Okay.
I was like, how can I make something that is a governing body, and then I can create things up under that governing body. So that's where Carlton for Envisions came from. So
okay. So for those that are watching, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So for those that are watching and listening, and you just kind of explain Envisions, what all actually entails into Carlton for Envisions? Like you said, graphic design. What else?
Graphic design, video, media. Because I'm getting into video and media. Even I had a mentor, like a young lady I was mentoring last year. So it's even educational based. I'm venturing into that because I'm at that age now.
Hey, like I said, 15 years, you can't cut that any type of way, man.
Let's see, what else? Like one of them's strictly for photography and what is it? Branding, like for people that need photos for their brand, and they need some high quality, professional looking, not just. And I'm not talking about you go to the studio and then you get the little headshot. No, this is branding photography, specifically like in your area, in your home, in your office. That's what MS728 basically is now.
Okay.
So it's a branding photography shop. And then now with video, so I'm branching off the video. I haven't quite made a business off of that.
Okay.
But right now it's just an avenue or something that I do. So, and I'm venturing into. I'm gonna make a probably like a automotive eccentric YouTube later on. I'm trying to clear up some things before I can have my mind clear for that.
Yeah.
But that's coming later on. That one's I've actually had the name for years. It's called Editorial Perspectives. The Instagram's up there and everything, but I haven't had time to just focus on it. But that's going to be one of them that's under it. That's basically what it is. Like, I have this brainchild up top, and everything, all the dominoes fall at the bottom. So it keeps me from being set in one area. So,
right.
And then if one gets big and I want to hire some people, I could hire them. They can work it. So.
Okay. So when did you realize in your life that entrepreneurship was going to be a part of what you do?
I don't think I ever realized it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know. I guess when, I don't think I ever thought about it. It just came.
Oh, wow. Like say people are chosen.
Yeah. I just knew that's something, hey, you got to do this if you want to do this. So I guess A to B.
Okay.
And B was, I guess you fall into something. So I fell into it.
Okay.
I guess that's how you say it.
Okay. So, all right. So how long have you been an entrepreneur?
I would say at least 10 years out of 15. I would say that.
Okay.
And it's had its ups and downs, but yeah. definitely say that.
10 years,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. Okay, and for those that are now watching, like I said, I had to salute him. This young man has served, something I never did. So I have to show the most amount of respect and appreciation for what you've done for us to keep us safe. Throughout that period of time with you serving, did this ever kind of cross your mind that you could envision yourself doing something like, man, like, did any of this actually matriculate from when you were in serving?
To be honest, at the time when I signed up for the Air Force, it was a means for me to pay for college.
Okay, but you had a plan.
Yeah, it was a. I ain't gonna lie, it was a hustle.
Okay.
I was like, oh, they give money for this, and my dad, he's an ex-vet. He's retired Army, so
okay.
He was like, you're not going in the Army, but you can go in the Air Force. And I was like, okay, I'll sign up for that. So it got real one summer. After my first year in college, I couldn't find a summer job. Things got real. I was looking at how much my parents were paying out on this loan, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So what can I do to help myself and push myself through school and pay for everything? So that's when I started thinking, like, I guess you can say 19-year-old me was like, oh man, I gotta hit the ground running. I gotta grow up fast. Like, this is, you gotta make this money for yourself. And signed up. Crazy thing about it, I signed up right before September 11th.
Oh wow.
So that was wild. When I was actually in my dorm room and walking to class, seeing people crying and stuff, and people, saying things, and I didn't know what was going on. So we didn't have, you didn't have like cell phones to really look at anything at that time.
Right.
That was like early 2001, 2002 time. So you didn't really, looking at social media wasn't a thing. You had to wait till you got to a TV at that point.
Wow.
So once I got, to the student union, I actually got to see what was going on. I was like, dang, I had just signed the papers that July on my birthday. And then went to school, and I was actually supposed to leave out because I could only do 1 quarter that year, and then I was going to go out to training.
Okay. So,
seeing that, and I'm like, okay, I don't feel like I signed up, but I didn't want to, dang, I got to go to war. That's a lot going through, 19-year-old mind at that point. So I was like, dang, I got to go to war.
Wow.
But I was lucky enough to, don't get me wrong, I saw some things, but I was lucky enough not to have to go and do some things that some of the others
that had to be done.
So, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I'm circling back around to the eye, the vision. You're an aspect of what you do with photography. So, your vision and your eye. Okay, so when you get into a position to actually capture a moment, what are you thinking?
What's going through my head? That's a good question. When I'm in the zone and I'm actually like looking through the viewfinder of the camera, or I'm looking at all the different angles that I could probably capture it in. What's the most compelling way that I can show this and make it so if somebody looks at this photo or if somebody looks at this video, they can actually feel that they possibly were there, or they can feel everything around it. I guess that's what I look for.
Okay.
So I try to shoot it in an angle where it's gonna, like, say for instance I'm standing here. I'm gonna shoot through probably this. You're probably gonna see the mics or something in there, to get that feel of, hey, okay, this is room. I'm not just gonna just take a above shot or a clean shot or a simple shot. I see a lot of that in photography today, and some of the photography that I see today, like the flash photography or high speed sync, this and that, it kind of bores me. I'll be honest. It's simple. It's middle of the frame, nothing real to it, and then they slap some color graded on it. It looks good, but it's not intriguing.
Okay. And see, for those, and like I said, I'm going to stay here because see, this is what I want people to see as an entrepreneur. 15 years in the game, you have someone that can tell you every aspect of an image. I mean, it's a gift to sit and actually break down what you see and actually envisioning it before it happens to create an image that can last forever.
Yeah.
So with you being in this game for the amount of time you have, and you actually just broke, because I don't know the terminology, and what you said, like you were actually saying some things like, what type of advice would you give someone who would want to go along the path you have in the art of what you do?
My advice is, don't go to college.
Okay.
If you want to go into photography, now video is a different game.
Okay.
If I would say, if you're trying to go into cinematography, go to college for that. That's a whole other beast. I mean, there's things behind that I still haven't learned. I'm still learning how to control sound. But photography, don't go to college. You can go right there on YouTube. There's enough training videos, there's enough things people have put out in this day and time that's content. You can learn everything you want to learn. My thing is, go study that and just go shoot. Practice. Makes perfect. That's my advice on that.
Okay.
And figure out what's your vision, how you hone in on your eye and how you see things, and then perfect that, and then learn how to edit. A lot of photographers don't know how to edit, or they'll send it to an editor. To me, if you're going to be a photographer in this day and age, do your own editing.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Is that a difficult process?
It's not.
It's not time. Well, I know it could be timely.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. But and a lot of times, like when I was doing weddings years ago, I stopped doing weddings. I still do them through another photographer, but the only thing I do is shoot, and then he gets the files and he does the editing. I just get paid for the shooting, which is perfect for me.
Okay. I got you.
So I don't have to worry about all that extra, But it's time consuming. Like weddings, you can shoot anywhere from 2,000 to 1,800 images in that one wedding, and then just imagine you gotta go back, cull through all those images, and then you're sitting here looking out the window like, I'm losing time with my family, my child, or anybody else,
right?
that you could be, doing that stuff with, and that's what I ultimately like now. I'm actually mindful of what how much I'm shooting or what I'm shooting.
Okay.
So it's you basically, and then once you figure out your editing style, it gets easy. You can go through them, slap your style on there real quick, and then keep going. But I would say figure out your style.
Okay. So, what has been some trials and tribulations for you doing this?
Oh man, I would say one of my biggest ones is shutdowns.
Okay, you talking about COVID or?
No. Like me personally shut down. Like,
okay.
I can shut down, get quiet for a couple of months, and I won't post any content. Just nothing.
Okay.
That is not a good thing if you're trying to really, really, really just grow. And it took me a long time to actually just learn that, to get through those times when I would shut down, or I'm going through something in life and it's causing me to shut down. So
okay.
I think that's my biggest Achilles heel.
Man. So for those that don't know, and for those that are watching and listening, okay. So throughout time, if you follow Carlton on social media, can you give us information for people that are watching and listening, if they want to view your work and just kind of check and see what type of person you are? What can you give us that information?
Yeah, most of my social media, you can find me at Carlton IV, Carlton 4. It's all in one thing. Instagram is Carlton 4. My website is carlton4.com. I also have an M728, which I'm redoing. It's just a page. It was a website at one point. It was for weddings and stuff like that, but since I got away from that, I'm redoing it for branding photography. So. And it's not quite finished yet, but it's still there. But everything on social media, if you want to find me, just type in Carlton 4 IV on Google, and I'll tell you, everything's probably going to pop up.
Okay.
I'm not hard to find. I'll put it like that.
Okay. So throughout your time, 15 years of time, who have you been privileged to work with, man? Now, I know personally who you've been able to actually work with, but for those that don't know, with your craft, man, like, can you just kind of name some people you've had opportunities of actually working with and capturing those images, graphic design, your influences? Who influenced you to start doing what you're doing?
My influence actually came from being a graphic design major. My first camera was like a little Sony point and shoot. And I used to shoot my own images for things that I was making. And from doing that, it got me intrigued on, like, man, this is not as hard as I thought it was to shoot your own content and then put it in your work. And then from there, I got with a friend of mine who actually does pretty good work, Armand Johnson. We both went to school together. His work is very good. A lot of people know him. He's actually from here too. He does a lot of portrait work. Me and him got together and we started pushing each other to, get better, hone our craft, this and that. We kind of started off going in the same direction and then we split off.
Okay.
So I do more, I would say, editorial type event work. He's more studio, he stayed in the fashion area. I didn't.
Okay.
I guess that leads from, because what I do at work is still like editorial type work, because I photo a lot of doctors in this area, I will say that.
Okay.
Medical professionals. So I do a lot of medical photography work. Trying to think.
That's what I'm saying, man. 15 years, y'all. 15 years. We know we can't get it all out of this interview yet. That's a long time. And there's a really great appreciation for that, man.
I'll put it like this. I've been in situations, even from working with social goals.
That's what's up.
It has put me in certain situations where, like I said, I'm a very humble person. And I am not afraid to be like, hey, these people right here got me here. These people got me here. So I thank everybody for, calling me and wanting me to assist them in their, visuals to help their, stuff grow. Because that's mainly what I do.
Yeah.
I'm here to help your business or whatever your endeavor is have the best visual possible. So.
Well, I can honestly
led me to some places.
Man, I can honestly admit, without you, the progress that people see wouldn't be existing. I'm like, so I have to put this out, and I have to give you flowers, because people heard of social goals, but actually seeing it, you play a big part in that. Yeah. So for those that are watching and listening, like when it comes to our website, when it comes to a lot of the images you see, and a lot of things you see when it comes to the structure, I'm telling you, this man, like, hey, this ain't right. He have us on point. Like, hey, this ain't what it is. And I have to show an appreciation for that, man. And like I said, to just see you're already established. So we're becoming established. Like 15 compared to 6, you already know what the math is. I mean, you got 9 more years in the game than we do. But do you remember the first person you shot?
First person I was
Your first client. Now, I know you started with yourself as far as, getting the content for yourself, but do you remember your first client?
Yeah, it was this little aspiring model that I did some work for. This was years ago, and I met this guy. He was a stylist here, and that was my first shoot. It didn't go. It went the way I wanted to, but not really.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that was like my first one that I actually like just was like major.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because even just from that one, people would ask me like, "Dang, how did you shoot that one? How did you shoot the images?" And then I mean, they did come out pretty clean. Now I'm like, you know, it's almost like for your weed smokers, the first high.
Okay.
Y'all always kind of stuck chasing their first high.
Okay.
And it's like it's a feeling. It's a feeling to a visual. Like I'm not gonna. That's another thing to it. It's a feeling. Like any type of compelling photo that I shoot. Like even now with me doing a lot more concert type work.
Okay.
Like it's a feeling. It's a weird feeling that you get when you nail this one photo and then lighting and everything is just like on point, and then you want to share it right then.
Mm-hmm.
You get excited.
Yeah.
But you can't you gotta wait. There's levels to it. So
okay. And I understand it. So with you saying like, okay, as far as concert shooting, you know, and for those, and I'm just putting this out there, man, I've seen this man shots that he did a Raheem Divine, Genuine, like, yeah. And I guess what leads me to the question that I want to ask you, when they're performing, they're moving. So I'm like, how are you able, it seems like there's so much entailed with not only seeing it through your eye, it's like the breathing, you know, it's the, you know, you have to have that discipline to sit there because you catching these people at different, I mean, that's what I'm like, what are you thinking? Because I know I asked you, what do you see? But what are you thinking in these moments when you're actually doing this stuff?
Mathematics.
Because you said like the lighting have to be right. You actually gave us a few.
Basically, what I'm thinking is probably what other photographers are thinking. You're thinking about your shutter speed, because your shutter speed has to be at a point where you can actually catch the movement, so you don't get blurred.
Okay.
And then your ISO got to be at a certain point to where it's not noisy. You know, I typically, and I don't mind sharing how I shoot, but I typically keep my ISO low. A lot of photographers will keep their ISO high when they're shooting concerts or any events like that. And if you have your ISO high, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna mess with your colors, and it's gonna wash out whatever you're shooting. So if you keep your ISO low, then your images will come back. I shoot with Nikon. Most of the youngsters nowadays shoot with Sony. Can't really go wrong. I know and this is a term I'm gonna throw out there.
Okay, so I'm probably not gonna know what you're talking about. So they can't see me, but you see how I'm looking at you.
The dynamic range on Nikons and Sonys is really good. Canon's never really had the best. They do have good dynamic range, but they kind of lag behind the two, even though you see a lot of Canon shooters. But that's one reason why I kind of stayed with Nikon. And I never kind of switched. The only one I probably would have switched to, and I don't like how they cameras feel in my hand, is Sony.
I got you.
But the dynamic range, that's why I said I always shoot low ISO, because of what you can pull out when you're editing shoot raw and what you can pull out when you're editing. You think it's dark and it's not dark. So you pull out all those details and then you still have a usable file. A lot of photographers, and this is one of my pet peeves on it, they'll blow out the highlights. Protect your highlights.
Okay.
Treat the highlights like it was your child or your baby. You know, protect that. So don't shoot too low to where you basically getting it too dark. But back to what I'm thinking when I'm shooting. Yeah, I'm basically thinking like, you know, what my shutter speed has to be at, what and all this is going on in a matter of seconds. What my
like a
ISO
computer
is, yeah. And then at the same time, I'm framing how I'm shooting. Like I have a particular way I like to frame my stuff. Like, I don't really shoot like other ones. Most people shoot straight middle of the frame. I move my focus points around, especially with my newer camera. It's a mirrorless, so mirrorless you can move focus points, you know, in weird areas.
Okay.
And I'll move it to that weird area and I'll focus and take the shot because I want to get something that's compelling and different. I'm not a middle of the frame shooter. I hate shooting middle of the frame. One of my pet peeves is when I see that somebody is shooting in the middle of the frame and then you get the image back and it's blurry because they didn't focus on the right point, but they say, oh man, this is a usable image. No, it's not, because the most compelling point that you should have focused on is blurred. So it's not sharp. So yeah, it's a lot of things going through my mind when I'm shooting. I'm like,
and with you being in this game, and you know you have a lot of people coming up in the game, man. How do people typically act? Do people really, you know, like who's in the game with what you do? Are they friendly, or do people accept the constructive criticism? How does that go?
They do. Well, it depends on the photographer. You have some that they get all up. Oh man, you know they think they're they're the ish, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have some that are very humble. I'm one of those that's very humble.
Yeah.
People might think I'm cocky, but I come across as, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. So I guess they might take that as being cocky. I know a particular situation recently. I was around a young guy, and I noticed the other photographer was telling him something wrong, and I know he hadn't been shooting that long. So I chimed in, not to cut him off, but to say, no, this is the exact range you need to shoot in, blah, blah. He was learn how to shoot flash. And I was telling him, like, if you stay in this ISO range, this shutter speed, this and that, point your flash in a certain way, bounce it off anything that you can bounce it off of, you're going to get great lighting. And he was like, so the whole rest of the day he came back to me, he was like, you were right. And I was like, yeah, because I've been shooting events for years. I've shot corporate events, I've shot major stage events.
Yeah.
I shoot for LSU Health right now.
So a lot of what they see on websites,
yeah,
these are images that you've taken.
Oh yeah, like there's some images right now that's that LSU Health uses that have been shot by me. Yeah, but majority of the ones now has been shot by another photographer. But I am one of the photographers that shoots there.
Okay. So, you know, like I said, I don't want to occupy all your time. You're already busy enough. Like I said, you have brands. You are a brand, and you have brands underneath your brand. So you are a content creator, an influencer. So, man, I want to ask you a question. We're going to get out of the mode of you being an entrepreneur. Can you tell us something, for those that are listening on the radio, those that are watching you in social media world, what's something about Carlton the Fourth that nobody knows, that we can get right here, that the social ghost can get? Something that no one knows about you.
Pretty much an open book.
I'll give you one. My last guest, shout out to Kayla Davenport, CEO of Go Drip IV Bar. She said she loved Tootsie Rolls. I said, okay. So, you know, you can't really find that candy nowhere, but that really did. She loves Tootsie Rolls,
yeah.
You know.
I'm trying to think. Nobody knows. Because mostly, I mean...
Is there a skill that you have that nobody knows about? I mean, anything that nobody knows about you. We want the exclusive here at Social Ghost. We want something. When you leave here, we want to be able to take something from you that's something that you never really kind of revealed to anyone.
I can't think of anything.
Okay, look, we're gonna let him get away because, like I say, he is a goat. He's a social goat too. So I'm gonna let him make it. Okay, so this is my last question, man, before we close out this interview session, and this is for the culture. Is there any black movie that you're ashamed to say that you haven't seen?
No, because I've seen about just about
God dang it, I'm crashing and burn that question. That's 2 weeks in a row, crashing and burning with it. Oh my God, that's horrible.
Well, I mean, I even watched Intergalactic, which was that Kid Cudi movie, that new one right now, and I was listening to the soundtrack, so now.
God dang it. Well, I totally crashed and burned, y'all. You look. Hey,
If it's black, I'm probably gonna watch it.
Hey, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you, man, coming on Before the Vision, man, getting to learn more about you and being an entrepreneur. Is there anything you want to leave anybody with? And before you leave us, can you please tell us how to contact you and your preferred method of contact if they, people reaching out for your work?
You can contact me through email or either just text and call me. Those are the best methods to do it. My preferred method is, because I'm probably not going to answer the first phone call, text me. And then once I know who it was that called me, then I'll get back to you. So as soon as possible. That's basically what it is. Or email me, because I check my email every day. So.
All right. So you already know, man, this has been your show. This is Before the Vision. I'm Shady Will. Like I say, man, I'm very appreciative of the guest that we have, Mr. Carlton Harp IV. You're going to see him more because he is a social goat. But I had to pay my homage to him because, like I said, I love taking pictures. But I'm like, man, I like to go and pay homage to the people who's been doing it and had to do it the hard way. You was there. So you've been through the rain, sleet, and snow. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to let you go after this. Do you have a greater appreciation for starting as a visionary in the past without all of the tools that we have today? Or do you have a greater appreciation for it now?
I think anywhere you start, you got to put that seat time in. You got to start somewhere. And I mean, you're not going to be the best at it when you first come out. So you learn. Like, I mean, it's taken me, I've shot for Cheetah Jones. I've shot for who recently, which I wasn't even expecting to do, Genuine. That was like most humbling moment. That was like my humbling top moment right now. I'm still kind of high off that one because I was like, dang, I grew up listening to his music, but never in a million years what I thought. And then that actually led me to meet Keith Sweat and who was it? Teddy Riley. They were all in the same area. So I was like, dang, I just got to meet these people strictly from, having the content and the contact and fortitude and from my work. So
we got bigger things that we about to see from you.
Yeah, 15
years you didn't even scratch the surface of where you trying to be.
Yeah. Right now I'm trying to push it. So trying to get to that level. I don't want to work a 9 to 5 the rest of my life, so it's on right now. So that's basically what I'm on now.
I got you. So. Hey, once again, like I said, we appreciate you. Y'all heard the methods that he prefer for contact. He prefer contact through email. Like I said, make sure you follow him on Facebook. You follow him on Instagram, all his social media platforms. Get at him, reach out to him. For those inspiring people who are artists and you're out here doing this, reach out to him, man. I mean, knowledge is power. I mean, don't be too arrogant where you can't be humble to learn to actually make you better. Hey, man, like I said, that's our show. Like I said, I appreciate you, Carlton. Like I said, I know we'll see you again. Holla!